Welcome to Broken Plays. Quabs got the beat in his voice today. What's going on, Quabs?
Yo, welcome to another episode of Broken Plays. No one's on the injury reserve list. We got the whole roster here. Hatham, Jaylon, Perry, and I. We're going to bring that heat. Yo, let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about injuries. Yo, we're going to talk about injuries. We got no one on the IR, but the Dallas Mavericks, who Perry said are contenders. Perry did say that. Could everyone just tell me that Perry did say that?
Mm-hmm.
In his defense, they were all healthy when he said it. I got you, Perry. Don't worry.
Oh,
Bro, no,
okay.
hold
Hatham
on.
feeling
It
nice.
doesn't even bother me because at the end of the day, you see how quick they are to jump to say that I was wrong? I've never seen these men so quick because I'm usually right and they don't jump to say that I'm right. So at the end of the day, a broken clock is right twice a day. If you guys need to call me out on being wrong that once a day, congratulations, broken clocks. And I'm not talking scissor.
Yo, so Jaylon, have you ever heard of this before? Forfeiting games.
No, I have not. But I like to draw us back to when this trade first dropped, and niggas were twerking, saying, "Wow, Kyrie and AD, that pick and roll is gonna be so nice." And I said, "Yeah, but the AD ain't never available."
Say names. Say names.
I'm
Say names.
not
We're a
dropping
show.
names. I'm not dropping Govies.
No, you're
All I
dropping
am
names.
saying is
You're
I am
dropping names.
No, drop
recalling.
Guppies. Yo, we
I
want the
am
Guppies.
recalling the events that transpired.
You said.
If I could have the
Who
floor,
twerked?
that would be.
That's what I
That would
want to
be.
know.
You
Who
said.
twerked? Who twerked?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Say it.
What you
Say
said
it
before
with your
twerking,
Both of you
chest.
I
niggas
need
were
to
out here
know.
like Sexy Red and Glorilla.
Because I know you're not
What you
talking
mean,
about
both
me.
you niggas?
I know
Both
you're
of you
not
niggas
talking
were out
about me.
there like Sexy Red and Glorilla.
No.
Like
It's
I was saying
11
before, I was
p.m.,
so rudely
bruh.
interrupted. They said it was a win now move. And I
Who?
said AD is never available. Some people gave me a list of, oh, well, he played 68 games this season. He played 56 games this season. He played 70 games this season. And I said, yeah, but why is he never available? And this is what you get. I told you exactly what was going to happen. I told you that AD would not be there and disappear like the Avatar when you needed him most. And what has he gone and done? He tore his waist belt. That's what happened to him. Now, the Kyrie Irving, I feel the worst for Kyrie. I feel the worst for Kyrie because his injury, he doesn't deserve it. Not to say that AD deserves an injury or the others deserve an injury, but he doesn't deserve to be in this situation. They had a good thing going prior to this trade, and they should have stayed put. But I digress. I think this is self-inflicted. This is the basketball gods punishing the Dallas Mavericks this season, and I feel sorry for Mavericks fans. So I'm gonna give you guys a one-time pass to jump ship, a one-time pass in which you can pick any other team in the league to go and support because you don't deserve this. You didn't ask for this. You didn't sign up for this, Dallas Mavericks fans.
Hatham.
I just need to know the names. That's all I'm asking for. Put
Who
names
twerked?
inside these receipts.
Who twerked?
Yeah. That's what we want to
That's what I
know.
want to
The
know.
people want to know.
Perry was throwing ass. Perry was throwing ass.
Whoa. No Diddy, fam. No Diddy, fam.
I'm suing him for defamation, bro. We have this on camera. I'm suing him for defamation.
Was he dribbling the ball like that video with Dwayne
Zion,
Wade?
no, that's good. Perry. He said you was dribbling the ball with your ass. That's what Hayden said,
You said
bro.
what?
He said you was dribbling the ball with your ass, bro. You gotta fight him. I didn't take it that far. You
Yo,
know that video of Zion?
everybody's
That's how Zion
getting
Wade
Did you
lost,
see the
practices, bro.
video? Did you see the video with someone replicating how Dwayne Wade's teaching his daughter how to dribble the ball?
Yeah, that had me crying,
But what was the question again? Karma. Yeah, I think we lost Quabs.
No, I'm right here. Yo, Hatham.
My nigga mediate, bro.
No, I'm letting y'all talk. I'm letting y'all do your thing. This
You were
is great
so-
for the YouTube clips, man. This is
Bro,
great for the Instagram
you were like this.
stuff.
I thought you froze. You were like this.
I'm letting y'all talk your shit. Yo, Hatham, you're on the clock.
Honestly, it's one of those things. It's unfortunate. I've never seen a time in my life where players would have to forfeit games because of injuries. At that point, you might as well put Jason Kidd. He's on the roster technically. He's the coach. You might as well put him in the game. But I feel bad for them. That's all. AD's coming back though, right? So that's all that matters. So out of all the people, JLo, remember when you said, "Yo, AD's injured"? He's the one showing up. He'll be the only one left on the roster.
No. Where's he coming back to? The G
What do you
League.
mean?
So
Yeah.
he's not even
I thought
coming
we were
back with immediate
joking.
effect.
So he's
He's
going to
starting
the
in the G League first.
So what happens is when people get injured, they assign them to the G League team. They ramp up
Correct.
because the
Yeah,
G League team
conditioning
has
stint.
the
Yeah.
conditioning stuff, and then they come back the next game. And then what's his name? Lively will be back, and they're still in the plane. I think because the Suns are doo doo. Let's see.
Perry's other team.
Whoa. Perry's other team, yo, chill out, fam. Why are we throwing Perry on the bus? The man just showed up. He's gonna call in sick next week, fam. Chill. Oh, they're only
They're
one
two
game back.
games.
They're one game
Yeah,
back or 2 games
one and
back.
a half.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about it. Perry, give us your story, fam.
At first, I was frustrated, I won't lie. But now we're understanding why Jalen has never been happy as a basketball fan. It's because
Ooh.
we can't just look at success as like a series. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't just look at the season and think to ourselves like because they're not winning this season, they're never gonna win again. I think realistically, these injuries, as annoying as they are, there's like a silver lining, and the silver lining is that players like Max Christie are playing like I guess well or emerging or getting more comfortable into their role. You see Clay Thompson's improving like game wise. PJ Washington, like all of the ancillary pieces that you would need are playing very well. Personally, I think KD comes to the Mavs in the summer, but like whether he does or doesn't, I think the pieces that AD and Kyrie would have been working with this season are improving drastically. Sorry. So
Can I ask a follow up question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you mentioned that the ancillary pieces are performing and improving at an exponential rate, correct?
I would say they're improving. Like let me take
Okay.
back exponential. You know, it kind of
Okay.
felt good when I was saying it, but exponential is a little bit
You
hard.
popped out the 26 point Scrabble words. I appreciate
You know what I'm saying? I needed those.
it. I got you, lawyer.
Forgive me.
But do you think that when AD, Kyrie, everybody gets healthy, those same pieces will still be able to perform in a lesser role? And the reason I ask this question is because I feel like the numbers are inflated because ain't nobody else on the team that can hoop. So once you add all star caliber players, all world players in Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis to the team, touches, shots, volume, all that stuff diminishes. Are they still able to have the same effect on to make the Dallas Mavericks successful upon the return of those important pieces like Kyrie and Anthony Davis in order to make the Mavericks a successful team?
That's a great question, but I think that's when you see the depths of Jason Kidd's bag as a coach. Obviously, like looking at the situation, we are seeing players that probably won't get the same opportunity, scoring like 26-point games or like 18-point games, having like good outings. However, I think like it's the job of a good coach to kind of reel your team in. I think the problem that we have now is that we have multiple players producing that probably won't be in the rotation or crack the rotation as well, like as much as they are now next year. That to me is a better problem to have. Jalen, you've coached before and like at a high level. Like, would you rather not have like players that believe they can all perform at a high level, like whether that's true or not on a team, than like players where two players like we know can perform at a high level, but the rest of the team kind of just withers?
I understand what you're saying, but my thing is that I think what's giving them confidence and the ability to hoop like Max Christie is the volume in
Mm-hmm.
which he's touching the basketball and is the amount of touches that he's getting. So I think that's the direct correlation in terms of his improved performance. Now, if they come back and I'm asking you to just be a spot up shooter and you got to be an efficient spot up shooter, is that really Max Christie's game? That's my
That's
question
a
because
great
I don't watch
question.
enough.
So there was a scene in The Wire, and I think I quoted it on our previous podcast called "Nice That" TM. And
Mm-hmm.
essentially in that it was I forget the characters' names, but one of them goes to like their understudy or whatever and says, "I treated you like a son," and that guy looks at him and says, "But I wasn't meant to play the son." Now I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with basketball? One requires shooting people, and the other one requires like shooting baskets. And now this is where they intersect. Obviously, some players aren't built to do the catch and shoot like role, right? Obviously, certain players like need more volume and different like environments that are more conducive to their success. But if we just looked at the whole team, we see what everybody can do, and then we see like what can we do, like what can this player do at an elevated rate of their role, and if not, what can I move this player for? I think these players have improved in terms of their value trade wise, and they've been taking that extra step. Let's think of Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes was traded, went to
Hmm.
Philly, had 28 points last night against the Mavs, had a 51-point outing, had like multiple
Had a 40
20-point games.
piece.
Pardon me?
Yeah. Had a 40 piece as well against Golden State.
Exactly. So that's someone who outgrew their role, and that happens. You can't keep all of them into like that box where it's like, okay, we had you, so you're with us forever. Like that to me isn't how basketball is played. As you grow as a player, you need different things. It's like a relationship. When you're in a relationship, you might like McDonald's like one year and then like a steakhouse the next year. All it's really about is understanding like when your needs have changed. So as a coach, understanding and diagnosing that issue early would be the best way to approach the situation. Right now, what you're watching is players who haven't really had that opportunity perform at a high rate. That is everything right now this season, because I could imagine next season what they would do is, of these players, they'll see like, okay, what complements our roster more, who's gained a lot of like value, and what can we move that value for.
Okay.
It's a building year. Like I'm not just saying it to be like funny. It's one of those, our bench players were deficient. That's what the Mavs were like labeled as before, right? Like deficiency in their bench.
Hmm.
Now you have your bench players performing and your stars are out. So now you need your bench players to kind of step up. And while we're waiting for those bench players to while we're watching the bench players step up, the star players just had to take a step back because they're injured. Now, when the star players come back, you're working with better weapons. You have better tools.
So, based off what you're saying, Perry, I want to move over to kind of a similar topic, but we see that there's a lot of teams with playoff implications, like the Dallas Mavericks, who are in that conversation, who have a lot of injuries, like a fuck ton of injuries, or like they have like the Lakers, for example. LeBron's injured; they're slipping in the standings. So,
Mm.
Atham, I'll start with you here. I want to know, what implications do these injuries to these kind of players have?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no worries. I'm saying, like, what kind of implications does injuries have to the teams that are trying to make the playoffs but are slipping in the standings? The first team that comes to my mind are the Lakers without LeBron James.
I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to push through, right? Not everyone's going to be healthy. You're trying to get positioning. I think it's like, yeah, if you're going to be healthy towards the end of the season, yeah, that's good. But if you need to rest and you guys fall in the standings, then it's better to be in the playoffs all healthy than it is to be with nagging injuries and not being at performance level, right? So I think it's one of those things where it depends on what kind of team you are. Like, for example, the Suns, they can't really rest any of their players because they're just fighting every day. But like someone like the Lakers, I don't think you really fear anyone besides OKC, right? You don't really fear like OKC is probably the only exception, maybe Denver, but I don't think they can fall far enough where they have to face those guys in the first round. So
Mm.
getting healthy is probably the best bet. But I think the Knicks need to kind of figure out their stuff. I know they have a lot of issues going on with like Bridges talking in the media about how some stars need to get some rest and the bench needs to get more acclimated into the offense just so that when they're in the playoffs, they can kind of have more of a fighting chance just because Brunson's out. But I don't think anyone else. Is there any other injuries going on? I don't really know. I guess the Sixers are done. They're GGs. So
Oh, yo, the Sixers. Let me quickly bring up a stat. I sent it to you guys in the group chat. About like injuries. This was from FanDuel, and it's like injury salaried players and the percentage of injuries based on their injury salary. Philadelphia has $164 million injury. Well, almost 165 million if we round up in injury salary, and that's 95% of their salary. Like, that's wild. But they're not going to make the playoffs, and they weren't going to. So, like, I hear where you're coming from with a team like the Knicks, because that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, guys, about too. Like, when players are telling your coach, like Jalen, you coach, I'll pose both questions to you. Which teams do you think are heavily affected by injuries? But also, as a coach, if you're coaching and your players are telling you, "Yo, we're tired, play the bench," what is your response?
If I'm a tenured coach, and you know that never once in my history do I go into my bench. Like, if I'm known for running players into the ground, you can't be surprised that I'm running you into the ground. That to me makes no sense. Like, Tibbs is known league wide for running his players into the ground, for playing them 40. Last year, didn't they have all five starters like top 10 in the league in minutes?
Yeah, yo, Josh Hart was playing like 46. Like, there was a stretch where Josh Hart was on the court, like, for every possession.
So what the hell do you expect, Mikhail? My other thing on that topic is they traded damn near they traded damn near the whole bench to get Karl Anthony Towns. What'd you expect? You ain't got no depth left. Your only depth is Deuce McBride, the white boy with the weird name. You had to trade. You had to let Isaiah Hartenstein walk in order to facilitate the Karl Anthony Towns trade. Mitchell Robinson is in and out of the lineup. Like, I'm just confused on what you expected. You know, if that makes sense. So, I think that Mikal Bridges is somebody who's kind of like who's known around the league as being the Iron Man. Like, he doesn't miss games. I don't know if he's missed a game yet or in his career, but I know for a while he hadn't missed a game. But that's how Tibbs is. I mean, that's why Tibbs teams usually make deeper runs into the playoffs. Like, if you think of the Chicago Bulls teams, they always get to, they always got to the semifinals and conference finals, but that's where they kind of plateaued because of the fatigue. But I'm very confused as to why he's surprised, and more so why he's talking about it in the media. Now, in terms of which teams I worry about with injury, it's obviously the Dallas Mavericks, and for the simple fact that they said they were in win now mode. That's why they made the move. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're in win. They didn't say that?
No, I'm just playing. I'm listening. I'm just joking.
No, they did. They did say.
Yeah, we bugging. If you're in win now mode, you're the 10th seed. Your best case scenario is your first round. You're playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's maybe 20-ish, maybe even less games left in the season. Is that enough time to get Kyrie and Anthony Davis? Well, obviously he's done, but is that enough time to get Anthony Davis acclimated? Is that enough minutes under his belt? In the new system, in the new offense, new settings, new surroundings, so on and so forth. And the dudes that you do get back, the Derek Lively's, the Najee Marshalls, the Najee Marshall's out, right? If I'm not mistaken.
You're
Yeah,
on mute.
I believe he signed for like a 2-year contract off the top of my head, so he's there next year.
No, but like he's injured right now. I mean,
no, he's been hooping.
Okay,
hooping.
yeah. He just had 34 points the other night.
He's been hooping.
Regardless, you have to acclimate, Anthony Davis and Derek Lively back into the lineup and get them up to speed. And that window was closing towards the playoffs, and that window is huge for kind of one, seeding, obviously, but two, the chemistry and exactly what you're going to run in the team you're going to become playoff time, depending on your matchup. So I think that the Mavericks worry me, but obviously the Lakers. This kind of reminds me of the season where LeBron rolled his ankle when bitch ass Solomon Hill. He fell on him or he fell under him or something like that. The timing of LeBron's injury isn't ideal for the Lakers, but if they can get him back healthy and if they can get Luka back to the player that he is and get him back in rhythm, which I'm hoping I guess they're hoping that this time without LeBron will do, then obviously the Lakers are going to be good come playoff time. LeBron always stay ready.
Perry.
I would say I'm worried about the Mavs, but like I already know the injury bug has got us. In response to your question about Mikal Bridges,
Mm-hmm.
can I ask you gentlemen a series of questions?
Go ahead.
If you like, what does a bartender do?
Tens a bar.
Like, no, but like if you go to a bartender, like what are you going for?
A lot of.
Huh?
Sorry, wrong. Sorry.
Yo.
You go for drinks, good service, good vibes.
For drinks, right? We're just I'm gonna name the occupation.
Drinks?
We're just gonna name the specialty. You go to a science teacher. What are you learning?
Science.
Okay, great. Like, you go to a car manufacturer. What do you expect?
A car can be manufactured.
Follow regulations.
So now, like a coach that runs people to the ground.
Thank you.
What's running to the ground though?
That's Derrick Rose having an Achilles tear. That's his entire starting five injured in the playoffs. That's players complaining about him coaching too hard and like whatever. That's him having to go in and justify playing a player 40 minutes in a game, like per average.
Averaging 40 minutes
Him
for a
trying
season.
to justify
I have a question.
having no. Because I'm answering your first one. him trying to get the fact that, like, like this whole reputation that he has, reporters knowing who he is and knowing that players will get injured on his watch, players not wanting to sign with his team knowing his history as a coach. Shall I continue?
Can I ask a follow-up question to this?
Of course, you're welcome to ask anything. It's a free country.
So if your general manager, your boss above you, right,
Mm-hmm.
spends 98% of the salary on 5 players, are you not supposed to use those 5 players to the best of your abilities?
I'm
Can I take this?
He didn't sprinkle in anything on the bench. He just said
No,
these
he
are your
asked.
5 players.
He asked for another superstar. You remember last year before Karl Anthony Towns got there?
Thank
Who?
you.
He asked for
Yeah.
another superstar.
Yeah.
He said we need more star
But he's
power.
riding all of them.
No. You
Okay, go.
over the.
Okay,
Just let me know when you're finished,
you're
Shado.
going?
You're finished?
I'm
Okay, I'll just give you a hard time. I'm being difficult. Essentially, he asked for Karl Anthony Towns. He said we need more star power.
Who did?
Thibodeau. Thibodeau.
Yeah, but he got more star power in Miles Bridges and he got Towns.
Mikal
Bridges.
No, he said we need more star power, and then they got Karl Anthony Towns.
They got both of them. They didn't have any of them last year.
No, I understand.
Correct.
All I'm saying is he asked for more star power. He got more star power. As a coach, you know what you have to give up for these players. You've been in the league too long.
No, but okay, he asked for more star power because he didn't have enough players, right? Agreed?
No, not players. He didn't have enough stars.
He didn't have enough stars, but at the same time, why did the GM not trade the center that never plays minutes? That's taking $15 million a year.
I love that you asked that
match.
question.
Match,
I love that you asked that question.
Who? Who would you say, Joe?
I said the contracts wouldn't match, and I don't think he has the same value as Dante DiVincenzo coming off of last year.
But I'm saying you could have added some second round picks when people are giving up players right now with the center, right?
Can I propose this, a response to your question?
Yeah, go for it.
So if I ask for something and someone gives it to me, right? So if I'm Tom Thibodeau and I'm like, yo, I need more star power, and you gave me stars, my assumption would be that the front office kind of explained to him, these are the trades we'd have to make to get these players. Are you okay with it?
Okay.
For Karl Anthony Towns to be there, I'm assuming the answer was yes.
Yeah, for sure. I get you'll take a star regardless. Is what I'm saying is that.
But you knew what he had to give
stars,
up. Is what I'm saying.
But he's not filling in the bench properly. He's not getting rid of like players that are useful.
No,
aren't useful.
I'm
Okay,
not.
so can I ask this
that.
question?
We're arguing different things. I'm saying Tom Thibodeau would have known what he had to give up to get a player like Karl Anthony Towns.
Can I ask this question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
If they didn't give up so much to get Karl Anthony Towns, because remember they only gave up, 3 or 4 first-round picks to get Mikal Bridges?
They gave up 3. I think it was 4 first-round picks. Yeah.
Okay. So if they didn't go out and get Karl Anthony Towns, does their usage remain the same or does it diminish? Because remember last year with Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, I believe damn near all of them were in the top 10 in minutes played per game. I think Josh Hart was 1 and Jalen Brunson was 2 or 3.
Yeah, but their minutes would be down because they would have DiVincenzo, another guard on the wing as well, right? So technically they wouldn't be able to play all 4 guards at the same time because they would have a center in Randall as well, right? So technically speaking, based off minute deductions, they would play less minutes.
Yeah, because they would have more pieces.
That's one point. So
yeah,
they would have
exactly.
DiVincenzo on the wing, so then they would split their minutes on the wing. So Hart, Bridges, and OG would all split their minutes, and then Randall would take all of Towns' minutes. So technically, they would be less.
No, I get what you're saying.
Who's splitting Randall's minutes?
Randall just takes all of Towns' minutes, but DiVincenzo would be there because the DiVincenzo's trade was for Towns. So he would split the minutes with those guys because you can't start all 5 of those guys together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. So the minutes would be down for them on the guard position.
I'm just saying, based on his history, it doesn't seem like he would be finding a way to split up minutes. That's what I'm saying.
Like no, I get where Jalen, I get where you're coming from. Like I get what Hatham, I get where you're coming from, and like I agree with you. You're talking like mathematically, the minute divisions don't add up.
But that nigga don't use math.
What?
That nigga don't use math.
Who?
But
Thibodeau. He's never used the math.
He's like, okay, my goal is to win games, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If my bench is do, like who was the bench players on the Bulls? Like we always talk about them, but we're like, who's on the bench?
There's usually had Ronnie Brewer, Nate Robinson,
Nate Robinson that couldn't play.
Who's that guard, Bina? C.J. Watson.
Yeah.
C.J. Watson was cold, bro. Respect C.J. Watson. C.J. Watson was cold.
Bro, we never saw him ever since LeBron dunked on him, bro. I see him on podcasts now.
CJ Watson?
What's his name? What was the guy that LeBron dunked on? What's his name?
Jason Terry.
No, John Lucas, bro. That's who you're thinking
John
of.
Lucas. That guy got sent to the bench, bro. He got to the shadow realm, bro.
Nah, but
I'm
yeah,
just saying, if
like
you have years in which your guys are averaging like 40 plus minutes a game, I have no reason to think that it's like being in a relationship and trying to change an abusive nigga. Bro, he's an abusive nigga, fam.
Yeah, you know what? I am not going to talk about that. I can't speak about that. You know what? That's
yeah, yeah,
out of my
yeah,
realm.
yo, so yo,
So, which
yo,
current
March
playoff team
Madness
injuries?
is here,
Change the
fam.
topic, Gina. Change the topic. Khalas,
Next
Yo,
bro.
subject.
March Madness is here. We're gonna talk about the men and the women. We'll start off with the men. Jalen, we talk college ball frequently,
Hmm.
you and I. So I'm coming to you first. Who do you like, and what are you watching for?
I'll tell you who I don't like. I don't like seeing UNC getting that first four berth. That pisses me off. They were poo all year. They shouldn't be
They
in
were
this position.
dookie, huh?
They were booty butt cheeks.
Were
Tell
they?
us.
Yo, I'm a North Carolina fan. I'm a Tar Heels fan. Jalen in 2016. I remember Jalen called me. I had to turn off my phone
Yeah.
while we lost to Villanova. So like, I'm a Tar Heels fan, and I
I
gotta say that
remember.
Jalen's not capping. UNC this season was frustrating. We had RJ Davis come back for a fifth year just to play like shit. He was the top shooting guard last year. Comes back,
Yeah.
doesn't do shit. Like, yo. Anyways, yeah,
Archie
Jalen, continue.
Manning? Archie Manning? Who
No,
was it?
RJ Davis.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I thought he was. Sorry.
But that he played like poo because his shorty was his short. Oh no, his shorty was sleeping with his boy or something like that.
Yeah,
Caleb
something like
Love.
that.
Huh?
Get another shorty.
Huh? What you mean?
Yeah, it was a whole scandal.
Scandal.
Hey, that's
People
your
get cheated on all the time. I know people who have
I
gotten cheated
think
on and
that
still went to work.
Did they
Like,
enjoy the work,
this
Perry?
is the real world, bro. This is the real world. Like everybody, like boohoo. Go listen to some Rod Wave and like just be stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like bro, Taylor Swift has a song for you, but like there's no way
Yo,
I'm
fam,
taking that seriously.
yo,
I'm
Perry.
sorry.
If you got cheated on, I don't think you would be like okay right away just the next day.
let me continue, fam.
I
Let me
go to my
continue.
Bro,
job.
have you met Perry? Bro, he's a Haitian man, bro. It's part of the game, bro. Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Why are you laughing, Quabs?
Yo, Jalen, continue.
No, no. Jalen, you know how many? This
Yo,
is
you
the
be writing
circle
it
of
down. Yo,
life.
it's all good. Yo, Jalen, the floor is yours.
A couple teams I'm looking out for. Iowa State, I think they're a very good team, the top
Mm.
25 offensively and defensively. Very well coached. But more importantly, they're rebounding. The top 25 in the nation in rebounding. Auburn, I think they're a well-oiled machine. They have a lot of seniors, but they have length and size. Pause. And I believe they're also top 25 in rebounding, which is huge in the in the tournament. So those are the teams I'm looking out for. My dark horse is actually going to. It's not really a dark horse, but Clemson. I think Clemson, the biggest thing for Clemson was traveling to Clemson to play at Clemson was one of the hardest things to do in college basketball. But I think they do a lot of things right. They shoot the basketball well. They have good size. They can switch 1 through 5. Pause on the good size, by the way. They rebound the basketball well. They have an interior presence, both offensively and defensively. I forget. I don't know how to say his name. I think Shefflin, Sheffel something, and then the other white boy big. And then they have guards that can pick up full court and apply pressure, but also guards that can break pressure, which I think is huge in when you play the lower seeds and stuff like that. They're going to be the fifth seed, so they're playing McNeese first. um, so yeah, those are the teams I think you should look out for. Early upsets for me, I have Texas A&M going out first against Yale. Yale shoot the basketball way too well. Texas A&M have some bad losses on the season, most notably to Missouri. I don't think Missouri is a good team, so losing to them doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't give me much confidence, and I think Kansas is an early upset candidate against Arkansas. I think Coach Cal, this is what he does best. Kansas aren't having the best year, so I think that's 2 upsets to look out for.
One thing that I
Sorry, and
want to say before
Drake upsetting Missouri.
the one thing that I want to say before I turn it over to Hatham, we were talking about this before Jaylon, and I just want to bring it up because you didn't say it, and we agreed that this year the tournament is wide open. There isn't a
Yeah,
team that you look at and you're like, shit, you're definitely 100% going to win, or you have the
yeah,
best talented roster. It's not like per years past, so it's a very open tournament.
yeah.
And teams like Auburn and Duke and stuff, they're up there, but they're not that much better than the rest.
Yeah, I think they're like the Auburns, the Dukes, the Tennessees, the Bamas, the Houstons. They're all around like the same. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like years past where you had like a true number one in which nobody wanted to play. Like I think all those teams are kind of comfortable playing each other, and they feel they'd have a good. Even Florida too, right? They feel like they'd have a good chance of beating any of those teams. So
Jill, I have a question for you.
yeah.
With Cooper Flag out right now, do you think they're like they had an advantage before when he was there, but now he's out, and I don't know if he's coming back. But if he does come back, would they have an advantage over the rest
So,
of them?
so before you answer, Jalen, apparently Duke told the selection committee that Cooper will be available. The thing that we don't know is if Cooper is playing in round one. So, say like the question still lands. We don't know how long Cooper is out, but apparently he is going to play in the tournament. And I'll just answer because I was watching the ACC tournament because they had a game against North Carolina. They were up by like almost 30, and North Carolina came back, but because of a lane violation, North Carolina lost by 3. They did end up winning the ACC, but the thing is that Duke has the good team, but to go far, I don't think that they can do that without Coop. They can't. They can't. Like in my opinion, they won't go far without Flag on the roster. Like they'll win. They'll win round one. Round two, they could possibly win without him. Anything further than that, they need Cooper Flag like 100%. Like to beat these other teams. And the thing about this NCAA tournament, and we all know this, is that like a team sees that they're playing Duke, and they know that Cooper's the number one pick. They're circling that game coming out full force against Duke. So if Cooper's not playing, I would worry about the teams that Duke plays from the third round on. Jalen,
Talk so damn long, I forgot the question. What was the question?
the question is
Yo,
that with
forget
Cooper
about you,
out,
bro. Bro, don't worry. Quabs got you on the answers, fam. Just copy
Say
Quabs'
no more.
answer. Cheat code, cheat code.
Say no more.
Hi, Quabs.
yeah,
Between me and Perry, I know for a fact me and Perry don't watch enough NCAA, so we won't even get into this. But who do you have winning the NCAA? Or from each bracket, who do you think has the best chance of winning? Quabs.
honestly, I do, and I'm not trying to be that person to just jump on. I do not like Duke, but I think Duke has a really good chance. But I do agree with Jalen that they're one of the teams that I can see a team upsetting. I really like Florida. Florida's another school that I'm looking at. Jalen put something in my head because I was telling Jalen before that I don't like Houston because they always choke. This school always chokes, but
Oh,
Jalen,
did he?
when we were talking about it, Jalen was like, Houston has less pressure this year because all the teams are pretty even. So this could be the year that Houston makes a run. And I still don't think Houston will make a run. I think Auburn has something to prove, and I think they will prove something because they lost what? It was 3 out of their last 4, Jilan,
Mm-hmm.
that they lost. So I didn't even think Auburn would get the overall number 1 seed because of how many games they lost. I thought they would give it to Duke. But they gave it to Auburn, and I think Auburn has something to prove with how many losses they had, and I think they're going to bounce back from that. I'm also watching teams like UConn. Is UConn going to step up? They've been a good powerhouse school for a couple years. They're an 8th seed. Do they really have it in them to make noise in the tournament? They always show up, so that's going to be an interesting
I'm telling you
school to watch.
That Oklahoma team ain't a joke, man.
I know that's what. Yeah,
That
Yo,
yeah.
let
Oklahoma
me
team's
ask a
serious.
question. Who's like, give me the top three guards and top three like post players in this tournament.
I'll be honest. Oh, in the tournament? Oh, I thought he was gonna say college ball because I was gonna say the top three guards in this. Two of the top three guards aren't even in the tournament.
You're talking about the Rutgers boys, right?
Hey, them boys are serious, bro.
Yo,
So
they're nasty.
why couldn't they make it to? Because I know basketball is a team
Injuries.
sport. However, like I feel like in college you have more control over it, and I know that
I think
back
it's actually the
when
opposite.
okay, back when like Ben Simmons was playing, one of the things they
Mhm.
said was like he didn't make the tournament. They wanted to like I guess shoot at his draft stock for it, and
Mhm.
one of the questions they had was does he really care? And now watching his career unfold, I feel like that question still stands to a certain capacity. Would you say that's like the case for these Rutgers boys? Because like two players who are NBA level or like, excuse me, one of the best in college basketball. Like it then begs the question like, so why aren't you here?
So I think the biggest problem with Rutgers is it comes down to coaching. I think they're a very well coached team, and the reason I say that is because I've watched probably 6 or 7 games of theirs this year, in which it feels like every possession for them to score, it takes a Herculean effort for Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper to even get a shot off. And that to me comes down to coaching. The
Mhm.
fact that you have arguably two of the top five, top 10, we'll say, just to be safe, players in all of college basketball,
The two lottery
and
picks on the same team, and you
right,
know what I'm
and you
saying? Like
can't get
that to
them.
me is like either
Yo,
I'm
yo,
sorry
yo,
to
yo,
But
interrupt
my
you, but
point
like
literally.
is,
either the coach is
Don't they have
really
three?
bad or like you get what I'm saying? Like they're not who we think they are. Because
I
when it was
personally, because
LSU, we thought it was a coaching thing.
the reason I like Ace Bailey is because he's a dude that he's super efficient in terms of he gets buckets in like three or less dribbles. So like he doesn't do too much. Dylan Harper has the physical attributes combined with a little bit of finesse. So to me, the fact that these guys are struggling so much to get their shots off is because of their offense and because of the fact that their coach isn't very good. They don't drop like I steal a lot of shit from college. I will never look at a Rutgers game and be like, "Oh, that's a great set to run." You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, I think it comes down to coaching, but I also think the injuries that Dylan Harper had, like he's very injury prone. He missed a bunch of games this year. So being in and out of the lineup for him, like even he tried to come back for the Big Ten tournament, and they went out in the first round. You know what I mean? I think that for him, for Rutgers, it was a combination of health and bad coaching. Now, I will say if they want to give me a job, I'll be more than happy to accept it. You know where to find me. But I will say that
Hire
I think
him.
that they were
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah.
let
Where
down
can they
severely
find
by
you?
their
Where can they
coaching.
find you? Where can they find you? They don't know where to find you.
Coaching at a
Heritage
basketball court
College
near
women's
you.
basketball.
Oh, so
Yo,
he's
because it's also like when we're talking about Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, you were asking they're in the lottery. We're talking like Perry, just to paint a picture for you. We're talking Cooper number one, Dylan two, Ace Bailey three, or reverse of Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. That's how talented these boys are.
there is a possibility that someone could like.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
Oh
like
yeah.
someone could go first. I'm saying is like Ace really could go first. Like it's
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. If a team feels like they
Hmm.
need a point
yeah,
guard, shooting guard over a Cooper Flag, they can definitely take an Ace Bailey.
Like
But
yeah.
like
to talk about draft
I agree.
stock, I wanted to bring up, and Jalen, I know you remember this. Remember UConn, Kemba Walker? That tournament shot up his draft stock
Hmm.
by a lot with the way he was
That whole
balling.
run he had because the Big East championship, he had that crazy run too, and that led up to the tournament.
Exactly. So for a lot of these guys, they're
Is it Big
like
East?
playing for a job.
And sorry, last thing I will say on Ace Bailey, the reason I think he's so talented is because like the game against Stanford really solidified that he's a lottery pick because he was literally hooping. He was hooping on one leg because he rolled his ankle early, and there was no Dylan Harper. It was literally him. And even though the entire Stanford team, which is a very good defense, top 50 or top 40 defense in the nation, were shading everything to try and stop Ace Bailey, he had an efficient 40 piece. That to me says that like the kid's ready for the league. He just needs some guidance. If I was Ace Bailey and I was in his year, I would suggest transferring and maybe going to a better school with a better coach. I think an Iowa State would be a good option for him. Um, my apologies. I think another school would be Arkansas under Coach Cal. They develop guards really well. A la Kentucky, the Tyrese Maxeys, the Shays, the so on and so forth. He's really a guard guru. So for me, I think that that's what I would be telling Ace Bailey because he'll be a lottery pick next year as well. I think that's why I think that Ace Bailey and the two kids from Rutgers, they're so good, man. They're so good.
So Jalen, before we go, I'm gonna ask you because, like as Hatham said, like college ball is not his and Perry's forte. Women's
Hmm.
college, what do you have? What do you see coming out of that? I really like what I'm seeing from USC and Juju Watkins. I think Juju Watkins is gonna make some noise. I'm also really looking forward to watching Paige Beckers because I think Paige is a generational talent. She can guard, she can score, she can play almost every position, and UConn's just a powerhouse when it comes to that tournament. But if you had to put a gun to my head and tell me where I'm going, I would agree with you. I'm going USC versus South Carolina in that final. It's hard to bet against Don Staley, and Juju is ballin'. But I could see UConn shaping out, and I'm also surprised with Haley Van Leet's team of TSU getting that second seed.
Hmm.
If her team and Louisville win their first round matchup, she's gonna face her old team in
Yeah,
Louisville, and I know Louisville gonna try and come out and knock her out.
yeah. Yeah, I think I have USC winning it all just because I think Juju Watkins is a one man team. She's shown in the past that when teams, game plan against her and they set out to try and stop her, she's a willing facilitator. They've upgraded their big position with Kiki. I googled her name just to make sure I say it right. Kiki Iriafin. She transferred over from Stanford, and they have girls who can knock down shots as well. I think that USC is the team to kind of beat. Stanford. I'm a little bit worried about them for the matchup with UConn because UConn is a very good team. They're very well coached.
Yep.
And for the first time in a long time, they're fucking healthy.
Yeah.
So that'll be a tough matchup for them. And then obviously, like you said, South Carolina, you can't bet against Dawn Staley. They have a bunch of athletes. They're very well rounded, very well coached. They're experienced as well. So I think it's kind of between them two.
Next episode on Broken Plays, we're going to talk more about the March Madness tournament. And Hatham and Perry would have watched round 1 and 2, so we're going to dive into it more. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what Hatham and Perry have to say about which players or which teams that they like after watching the tournament, because there's so much basketball to watch. And we'll dive into it on the next episode of Broken Plays.